Hello, everyone. Welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio Rodriguez. Hope you're having a great Sunday. Thank you for joining me. On tonight's show, we'll be talking all about the Dallas Cowboys versus the Houston Texans, our biggest takeaways. We'll get a little bit into which stock are we buying from the Dallas Cowboys and whose stock we are selling. We'll talk about Conor McGovern because Conor McGovern was a big part of the Cowboys news cycle over the weekend, as Stephen Jones called him a potential starter for the Dallas Cowboys. And that was weird to hear from Stephen Jones on 105.3 The Fan. And we'll get into Dak Prescott, of course, and the drama that we saw on Twitter over the weekend as well on social media, because Adam Schefter had something to say on ESPN's halftime during the Cardinals-Chiefs game, if I'm not mistaken, and everyone panicked regarding Dak Prescott's health. We're going to get into that as well. Thank you all for joining the show. King Vova was here early. First comment says King. Thank you for joining me. Dallas John, what's up? I'm here early. Thank you for being here. Jojo as well, and Chava watching on Facebook. Remember that you can also watch on Facebook, on Periscope, well, Twitter Live. It's not called Periscope anymore. But thank you all for watching ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. We have an important show, I think, packed for you tonight, because a lot of things happened on that Cowboys-Texans game as the starters played about an entire half, at least regarding the defense side of things. Tony saying what's up from North Carolina. Dwayne also in the chat. Thank you all for joining. And, of course, do me a favor. Do me a favor, chat. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter, please let your friends know that you're watching ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. If you're on Twitter, hit that retweet button. If you're on YouTube, share it with your friends. And of course, on Facebook, share now, share the public. As always, thank you for being here and thank you for doing me that favor. And now more of Tony says, how do you have one dislike already? People are rude. Yeah, people sometimes, not everyone, but people suck. And if you want to make up for that, please hit that like button, as Stevie Mack is saying here in the chat. Thank you, Stevie, for being here in the house. Hit that like and share the video. Thank you all for joining me. And now that more of us are here, let's get ready to kick the show off officially. Welcome to ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night here on Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network, with a lot more content coming your way for the Cowboys 2021 season. Make sure you head over to adcsportsdallas.com, where you can catch up on your Dallas Cowboys news, on your Dallas Mavericks news, of course. Ian does a great job covering the maps for adcsportsdallas.com. And it's going to be an exciting month, an exciting next couple of weeks, by the way, for ADC Sports, because remember that in September, you will be watching you will be able to watch ADC Sports Dallas Primetime Sunday through Thursday, 5 days per week at 8 p.m. Central Time. And of course, you will also be able to catch Sky every morning, every weekday morning from Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Central Time. So we will have you covered on ADC Sports Dallas. Trust me, we will have you covered. And on game days, I don't know if you guys have heard about the game day experience, but it's going to be fun as well. So be on the lookout for what's next for ADC Sports Dallas. What's up, Chris? Thank you for joining us from Houston Texans in enemy territory this weekend, maybe. But thank you, Chris. Thank you for joining me. Mateo says DiNucci needs to be cut. Man, I was going to save this for later, but the ADC Sports Dallas Instagram account did not have to be this rude. They just did not have to be this rude and to post this on social media. A scene from Hard Knocks in which Ben says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, regarding what Dak Prescott was telling him about wearing a hoodie. And then ADC Sports Dallas on Instagram posted, well, it's broke. So long, Ben. And I know that's a joke, but listen, that was a bad performance from the Nooch, and it sucks, really. And I know that he has that he has been playing with the backup offensive line, the backup offensive line, and I know his situation is not ideal, but that was a bad game for the Nooch on Sunday. It was, on Saturday, excuse me. It was the game in which we now are completely sure and entirely sure that, hey, there is a QB battle maybe going on in the Dallas Cowboys to be number 2 behind Dak Prescott after Garrett Gilbert's play on Saturday. But we know that battle does not feature Ben DiNucci. We know that. That is more than clear, I believe. And thank you also, Martin, for being here on the show. Where can we watch your latest participation on Telemundo, says Chava. And as you know, I told you this on Thursday. I was on Dallas TV on Saturday night before the game. It was very fun. It was in Spanish, of course. It was in Telemundo. But I will be posting the links over the week. I was told that the links were going to be published throughout the week, and I'm sure I will be able to share them with you on social media. Stevie, I never realized what your profile pic said. I don't know what Stevie, I can see from here what Stevie Mac's profile pic says. That's like, I cannot read that here on the show. Shout out Jojo for finding that out. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Daylon. Love the format that you and Sky present. Thank you. And I like that the shows are different. So Sky has a different vibe for his show than I do, and I like that, of course. And thank you, Christian. That means a lot, of course. This is my favorite channel. Remember to like and subscribe and share that video and let your friends know about ADC Sports Dallas. I agree that wasn't cool of that person, says Stevie. But then, as Dallas Junkie saying, he deserves getting trolled right now. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a joke from the Instagram account. I was just laughing out loud when I saw that. But yeah, it was an interesting game from the Dallas Cowboys on Saturday versus the Houston Texans. I feel like we learned a lot from the Cowboys because we saw more of the starters. But Garrett Gilbert had a bad game as well. I believe that Garrett Gilbert was pulled from the game before the Cowboys' original intentions. And of course, we saw how he tripped at the beginning of the game. And then we saw that play in which he was holding to the ball. He was holding on, shuffling. And then he gets the strip sack. And it's just a terrible play from him. He has a lot of grass in front of him, first of all, so he can tuck that ball and run. And I know that's not what he wants because it's 3rd and 7 in that play. But you can also see that he has targets open, maybe. I mean, do anything except for staying there for that long and not feeling the pressure from the right side. It was a very bad play. Enter Cooper Rush, and then Cooper Rush has a good game, surprisingly. And now we don't know what's going to happen at QB2. And actually, that's the first question from me to you guys. Who do you think will be QB2 by the start of the regular season? Is it still going to be Garrett Gilbert? Is it going to be Cooper Rush? Or is it going to be a free agent to be dated? I did not include DiNucci as a possible answer because I honestly think that it won't happen at all. So I think that we need to be careful here because we might overreact because of what we saw last. Throughout this entire training camp and throughout this entire preseason, Garrett Gilbert has been the backup quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if one preseason game can change that, but man, that was a bad game for Garrett Gilbert. And then Cooper Rush entered, and he had the chance to play with a better offensive line, with the best offensive line combination that he's played with probably since he joined the Dallas Cowboys a long time ago. And we saw good play from him. We saw him put a few nice passes, the one in the end zone, in the corner of the end zone. The screen pass was more Tony Pollard than Cooper Rush himself, but it still was a good play. Right now, I would love it if the answer was free agent to be dated. And Stephen Jones said that over the weekend as well, said that, hey, these guys are fighting with other players around the league as well. And I know that we all realize that, but the problem is, are the Cowboys really going to go and sign somebody or trade for somebody? Because we know how conservative they can be. Anyone remember Joe Flacco? Is he available for backup quarterback? He's a better option than Gilbert. Second team offensive line sucks, says Crimson. And unfortunately, Joe Flacco is not only playing in the NFL, but he's playing in the division with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's the backup of Jalen Hurts. And who knows? He might get a chance to be a starter for the Eagles if things go wrong with Jalen Hurts. If only Garrett had DiNucci's run ability, says Stevie Mack. And we all want to see more of Ben DiNucci running that football, but he has not gotten that chance. And I believe that even though he's good running, we are not seeing him throw that ball like he needs to do. Kellen Moore QB2 says, Jojo, I would pay a lot of money to watch Kellen Moore suit up and play versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, just for old time's sake. I was remembering the 2015 season about 3 days ago. Someone asked me if I knew who the Cowboys were in 2015 for the Dallas Cowboys, and I memorized that QB carousel, unfortunately. And one of them, of course, was Kellen Moore. I hope the scout team is watching other teams' backup quarterbacks play. Maybe they can pick up someone out there, says Chris. And they definitely are. Definitely are. Always, I believe. Always the NFL teams are looking for players on other teams. And if the Cowboys end up signing somebody after the preseason, after the cut-down day, I think it might be at three positions. Offensive line, because people are right when they're saying that the backup offensive line sucks for the Dallas Cowboys right now. There is not a lot of good talk to talk about the Cowboys offensive line when it comes to the backups, outside and inside, because I don't think that we've seen good football from Ty Nsekhe, who's signed to be the Cowboys' primary swing tackle. Ty has not had a very good preseason, even though he's the favorite to be the swing tackle. We have seen very little from Judge Ball, who has been injured. We have seen very little from him. In the inside, we've seen Brandon Knight struggle. We've seen Matt Farniok not being ready yet. Maybe he makes the roster, maybe he doesn't, but he's not quite ready to enter the game, in my opinion. However, if we want to pour a little bit of optimism into the show, let's talk about the Cowboys starting offensive line, because I liked a lot what we saw from the Cowboys O-line. It was the first time since December 29th of 2019. It was the first time since then that the Cowboys were able to play Lyle Collins, Zach Martin, and Tyron Smith in a game at the same time. It was the first time since December 2019, and that was really great to see from the Cowboys. And I think we saw a good game from them, and I will get into that in a little bit as well. Thank you, Dave Walker, for being here on the show, asking for where is Skywalker? Is this a co-host? Thank you, Dave Walker, for joining the show. I'm going to be here every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night here on ADC Sports Dallas. And in September, I will be hosting this show, ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. And of course, Sky is going to be with you in the mornings. Stevie Mack says, did Isaac play yesterday? I don't remember even seeing him. He played for a while. He entered the field in the fourth quarter when the Cowboys took over with about 11 minutes to go. Isaac Alarcon. It was a very limited participation from him. And, well, you know, I would like it if he got more playing time. However, I think he's going to end up in the practice squad for the Dallas Cowboys. And as I've said on the show, I hope that Alarcon is not it does not stay in the practice squad as an international player, because if he stays as an international player, then the Cowboys cannot activate him to the 53-man roster. And the Cowboys have very little depth on the inside offensive line. So I actually think objectively, not just because Isaac is my guy, but I also think objectively that the Cowboys would be smart if they do that, because I think that Isaac has played good football for them during this preseason. Saturday's game, though, maybe was his worst game yet. And it wasn't necessarily bad. I think he just got beat in a few plays, unfortunately, and he struggled in one play when he tried to get to the second level, and he wasn't able to hold his block. Jeb Newhouse, thank you for being here on the show. I really want to see Judge Ball play. Thought he was going to be the swing tackle this season. I thought he had that potential as well, but the injury has kept him off the field, and right now it would be very optimistic from us to expect him to be the Cowboys swing tackle when the season starts, I believe. But the starting offensive line looked great, in my opinion. We did not see any real struggles. Maybe Connor Williams and Tyler Viadish got beat on one or two plays, but I mean, that's the NFL. That's how it goes. I think they had a strong game, and I'm very intrigued as to what's going to happen with Connor Williams. And we're going to get into the Conor McGovern talk in a few minutes here on the show, because Stephen Jones, according to Stephen Jones, McGovern is still competing for a starting spot within the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. So that will be interesting if it turns out to be true. Dave Walker says, hey man, Isaac has the mentality of a nasty guard. He is aggressive. I like him, says Dave Walker. And Isaac, for those of you who are joining ADC Sports Dallas Primetime for the first time, Isaac is my biggest pet cat right now on the Dallas Cowboys team because Isaac is from Mexico and he has a great story, and I've been able to cover him for a while now, and it's been very fun to do so. And I really hope that the Cowboys are able to stick with him during this season. He's going to stay in the practice squad for sure. The question is he going to stay as an international player or not? Now, the Cowboys' defensive line as well was very impressive last night. Osa Odigizua had a great game, and we saw some interesting looks from the Dallas Cowboys on the defensive line. This is one of the looks that I'm the most intrigued by. We saw at one point in the game, and this was early in the game, we saw Randy Gregory, Brent Irvin, Quinton Bohanna, and Justin Hamilton as your 4 defensive linemen. So that basically means that the Cowboys were playing with 3 defensive tackles on this play. But Micah Parsons was lined up on the edge. And I really, really like seeing that look. I think it was interesting, to say the least. And this wasn't a short yardage situation. But if it were, I think this look would be very interesting to watch in a regular season game. Now, this was a run play, so we didn't get to see what the assignments were. Really, if it were a passing play, and I was intrigued by that. I didn't know if Michael Parsons maybe would have dropped back into coverage, or maybe he was going to rush the passer. This was a run play, so it's tough to really know for sure what the assignments would have been if it had been a pass play. But I think this look was very, very interesting from the Dallas Cowboys. And we're seeing a lot of interesting looks, by the way. We saw, and I'm sure you saw it, and I don't have that graphic, but we saw that play in which Michael Parsons basically lined up as your stand-up nose tackle, and then he took 2 blockers with him as Osa Odigizua made the cross, and he pressured Tyrod Taylor out of the pocket. And that was a great look by Michael Parsons to see him take 2 blockers and occupy them as a linebacker, and he looked like a nose tackle out there. It was a very impressive play from Michael Parsons. How impressive can Michael Parsons continue to be during this preseason and, of course, during the regular season? This guy, even though he came into the NFL with a lot of hype surrounding him as a player, Cowboys fans were maybe a little bit upset because the Cowboys did not get their cornerback and things like that. But Michael Parsons, the player, is unbelievable to watch. And it's been very fun to watch him play and how fast he is and how he lines up everywhere and how the Dallas Cowboys are utilizing him, even though it's the preseason. So I think that when the regular season starts, who knows what the Cowboys are going to have in store for us regarding Micah Parsons. After seeing these preseason games, you, sir, are right. Thank you, Olga, for being here on the show. Yeah, I want to see more of that formation with Michael over the center, and seems like a good luck to stop the run, says D-Town, regarding the formation. On that play, says the Walker, did you all see how Parsons shredded the center on that play? He chased down Taylor. That was the play of the game, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but watching Michael Parsons do that, and then Osa Odigizua finish that play as well, because Osa had a great game. Osa is one of the biggest winners from last night, no doubt about it. We talked on Thursday about watching down-to-down consistency from Osa, and I believe he delivered. I really believe he delivered. Now, is he going to be able to keep that up during the regular season against better teams, against the Buccaneers offensive line, for example? Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe he's going to have some bad reps, of course. He's a rookie after all, a third-round rookie. But what Osa did versus the Texans was impressive as well. You're all saying Jalen Smith is done in Dallas. He really is. I mean, he's going to stick around for the 2021 season. But I would be very, very surprised if he stays beyond 2021. Now, I was mad on Twitter on @MauNFL. You can follow me there at MauNFL. That's MAU NFL. And I was mad because PFF does not let us have nice things. Like, we are getting over the fact that the Cowboys did not get their cornerback in the NFL draft because we're excited about Michael Parsons and stuff. And then they tweet this out. And I mean, it's a joke from me, but I thought it was funny to see this. That the highest graded rookie defender during the preseason. And at number 2, you have Patrick Surtain. And at number 3, Michael Parsons. Now, of course, the difference in the grades is very minimal. And I mean, I'm just having fun here. But why can't Pro Football Focus let us have nice things? Leave us alone. We're in love with Michael Parsons right now don't try to ruin that honeymoon, man. Don't do that to us right now. Thank you, Stevie, for sharing the link. Do you think Anai makes the team? Says Dallas Young. I believe he will. I haven't updated my 53-man roster projection since the last time that I showed it to you guys. I mean, it surely looks different now, but I have not published it, and I won't until the next preseason game is over. But I think he will. Bradley Anai, by the way, good stop defending the run in a play in which Osa was also a big part of that play. Osa disrupting the offensive line, and then Bradley Anai making the play in the edge was one of the best moments of the game as well. I do think he finds his way into the 53-man roster. Of course, he's fighting players maybe like Rondell Carter, who I know that the Cowboys front office likes. We know that. We've been told that, and we've been shown that last season when they got him back when the Indianapolis Colts waived him after they poached him from the Cowboys practice squad. Dallas likes Rondell Carter, but I do think that Bradley Anai right now has an edge over him and other defensive ends. We only have 3 linebackers signed in 2022, I believe, Jalen, Parsons, and Cox, and they might be your starting linebackers next year, maybe. Maybe Van Der Esch comes back. I think Van Der Esch can come back. A lot of people are saying that this is like the Van Der Esch final year with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I do think that Jalen is going to be gone. I'm sorry, I don't think Jalen's going to be back in 2022. Sorry if I made a mistake there. But yeah, I think Jalen Smith is going to be gone. In 2022, the numbers make sense for you to get rid of him, which is not the case right now, and that is why Jalen Smith is still a Dallas Cowboys. I think Anai provides a value as a situational pass rusher. Thank you for joining the show, DJ Doc, by the way. Parsons can change the identity of this defense. We're a fast, young defense now. He's unbelievable. He really is. Micah Parsons has been great. Now, some additional takeaways from the Cowboys Houston Texans game. Well, as we were talking about when the show started, the QB2 battle is now open. Consider it open. Is it going to be enough for Cooper Rush to have that strong game versus the Houston Texans after Garrett Gilbert struggled? Maybe not. But it is an open battle right now. And we will see if Cooper Rush surprises or upsets Garrett Gilbert in the QB2 battle, or if the Dallas Cowboys end up signing an outside free agent and getting rid of the current quarterbacks in the Dallas Cowboys. How about Randy Gregory? How about the first play from Randy Gregory in 2021? From the start of the game, he was on fire and he was quick, and we saw him line up in loose alignments, in my opinion. For example, in that play that we were talking about with Micah Parsons lined up over the center, you had Randy Gregory playing loose. He was playing wide at defensive end, and he was fast and strong, and I'm ready for Randy Gregory's breakout season, and we saw the first evidence of it last night, and in my opinion, he was one of the biggest winners from the Dallas Cowboys on Saturday night. Also, third down blitzes. We have seen this throughout the preseason, and we are continuing to see that. We saw that again last night, but the Cowboys are sending a lot of pressure on third down, and Dan Quinn is not being shy about blitzes, even though he was not calling the plays last night. By the way, that was weird. Carlos Watkins and Dan Quinn were sent home because they said an abundance of caution regarding the COVID-19 protocol. So maybe we will get more details over the next few days. But yeah, Dan Quinn was not calling the plays last night for the Dallas Cowboys defense. However, we've seen a lot of blitzes from the Cowboys defense during the preseason, which is surprising because even though the Cowboys changed defensive coordinators, and even though we can be excited about Dan Quinn and everything, historically, Dan Quinn's defenses have not been aggressive when it comes to using the blitz. They have not been very aggressive. He has been conservative, and usually that's the way it goes with cover 3 defenses, so maybe that's not surprising. But during the preseason, the Cowboys have been aggressive. And if there's one thing that I want to translate from the Cowboys preseason to the regular season, it would be that. Please give us aggressive play calling on defense, at least on third down or in situations like the ones that we've seen so far. Again, the Cowboys did that versus the Houston Texans. Parsons, says DJ Dog, reminds me of Devin White linebacker at Tampa Bay. I think that's a good comparison because he fits that role of the modern linebacker. So lately, we have seen the NFL shift towards more faster and more agile linebackers because they need to catch up to the spread offenses, right? And what they're doing with the RPOs and everything. So I do agree that maybe you can make a comparison between Michael Parsons and Devin White because I believe these guys are the prototypes of the new fast linebackers. Joe Witt actually did a solid job calling plays yesterday. That's right. Joe Witt was calling the plays, and he did a good job, in my opinion, as well. He was auditioning at the end of the day for a defensive coordinator job. We need a backup quarterback, period. These backups aren't going to win, and Washington is going to be right there to take the East, says Joel. And in my ideal scenario would be that if the Cowboys get another quarterback from outside, because I'm not in love with any of the quarterbacks that are backing up Dak Prescott right now. And I feel that strongly, and I felt that for a while. And if you've been watching ADC Sports Dallas Primetime since before the preseason, you know that I have not been pro Garrett Gilbert or pro Cooper Rush at any point of this preseason. And that opinion has not changed a lot. And I know some highlights make their way to the social media of Garrett Gilbert putting on some nice throws. But at the end of the day, we saw what we know about Garrett Gilbert. And I believe that Gilbert, in the minds of a lot of Cowboys fans, is in a high position because of that game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2020. And I've rewatched that game about 3 times now, and I feel strongly that we were in the heat of the moment when the Cowboys almost pulled off the upset versus the Steelers last year. And maybe we saw that performance from Garrett Gilbert in our minds as a better one than it actually was. And I really did not like that performance that much from Garrett Gilbert. It was surprising though, for sure, but I'm not pro Garrett Gilbert right now, and especially not after last night. What we saw last night to me was basically a deal breaker, and I'm not entirely sure if the Cowboys will see that the same way as well. But yeah, why was Hooker running with the third team, says Dallas Young? And I believe it's about getting back into a rhythm. Malik Hooker barely saw practice time before getting to that preseason game. So he wore pads for the first time the 11th, about 11 days ago. So I think that the Cowboys are just taking it easy with him. And that's why on the show I've talked about Damontae Cassie actually being the Cowboys starter on week 1 over Malik Hooker. Maybe Hooker can steal the starting role more when we are more advanced in the season, but right now I think it's Cassie's job. I'm excited for these defenses, Tizila. I know it's preseason, but I have a feeling this defense is gonna be good this year. Now I'm conservative about my defense my expectations for defense in 2021. I'm still playing the conservative cards because I don't like what we have at cornerback, even though I'm excited about Kelvin Joseph in the future and stuff. I'm not entirely sure about where the Cowboys stand when the season starts. So I'm still, if the Cowboys manage to break into the top 15 defenses, I will be very happy. If they are a top 20 defense, I think that the Cowboys are going to be in a good position to be a legit contender in the NFC. Because I believe that the offense is going to deliver. I do believe that. Now, as Joel is saying, the defense can't be worse than last year. And now, that is a fact. I joke around with my family, and I hope my mom is not watching the show, but I joke around with my family from time to time when I say, as you all know, I'm short man committee. So if I look young to you, as I always say, if you saw me standing up, you would say, this guy is even younger than I thought he was, because I'm very short. So I joke around with my family a lot that, for example, saying that the Cowboys defense can't be worse than last year, and my mom is shorter than me, significantly shorter than me. And I always joke around by saying, hey, that's like saying that I was going to outgrow my mom because I couldn't be shorter than that. I always joke around with that, and that's how I see that comment from Joel. The defense can't be worse than last year. That is just a fact. They cannot go back to it. Micah Parsons can do it all, says Blue Silver. Looks that way right now. Signing Geno Atkins says, give me cash. And I won't give you cash, but I do agree that the Cowboys need to give Geno Atkins some cash in order for him to play for them this season. And Chava says, do you foresee a trade for a good and experienced cornerback / defensive tackle before the trade deadline? I don't know about a trade. Maybe it could happen. However, I do think that the Cowboys are going to sign a defensive tackle before the regular season starts because they need some help there. Even though we have liked what we've seen from Osa recently, I'm not. The Cowboys are in a very bad spot when it comes to the depth of the position and even the starting aspect of it, because we're excited about Osa, but we don't know how it's going to look like when the regular season starts and you need him to play at that high level throughout the entire season, right? And thank you, Eleazar, for being here on the show. Thank you for joining us. David says, Dan Quinn's teaching makes this defense better, says David. Thank you for being here on the show as well. Uncle Charles here as well in the chat. Thank you, Uncle Charles, for joining. Best option for backups quarterbacks is Chicago and Las Vegas. Any other teams you see that have 3 good quarterbacks where one may get cut before the season starts? I would have to think about that one. Josh Rosen got cut, and I know you all discussed this with Sky, and I know Josh Rosen might be a polemical option, but he's out there maybe. McGovern over Conor, says Blue, and we're going to get into that in a few minutes here on the show as well. But yeah, those were some of the main takeaways. Osa, we were talking about him. He played great versus the Houston Texans. One of the biggest winners by far. And now, I know we've basically been talking about this already, but before we move on into my selections for the Cowboys stock market of the day, whose stock, tell me, after the game versus and we have not done this in a while here on ADC Sports Primetime, whose stock are you buying and whose stock are you selling after the Cowboys-Texans preseason game? Which player are you more hyped about right now, and whose stock are you just selling, getting rid of? And I have 3 players for you that I will show you in just a few minutes. Team Tebow, says Joel Wilson. Joel, don't make me walk out of the show. Don't make me end the broadcast this way, because I will if you provoke me this way. And I'm kidding, but man, Tim Tebow got caught finally. The question is will Dak be okay this year, and can he stay healthy? And we will get into that as well. Todd says, and thank you, Todd, for being here on the show, joining us via Facebook. Make sure to like and share the show, by the way. They may wait until after week 1 to sign any veterans, so salaries aren't guaranteed. And that is also a very smart comment here on the show. The guaranteed money side of things is always important to keep in mind. Unretired Rivers. This might happen, as Sergio is saying. This might happen for any NFL team at some point in 2021. But remember that Philip Rivers said that he would consider coming back to the NFL mid-season. Like if a team needed a quarterback because of an injury, Philip Rivers said that he would come back. I'm not sure about Alex Smith, though. But Philip Rivers, I agree. That could happen if the Cowboys, for example, we're in November and the Cowboys lose Dak Prescott for a few weeks. It could happen. Buying Parsons, selling Smith, buying Jabril Cox, is Jake Carter. Thank you for being here on the show. Bradley and I stock way up, and I agree. Bradley and I had a good game, a good play in particular, more than anything. But I would like the Cowboys to play Bradley and I more time, though. I think that we have not seen enough from Bradley and I because the Cowboys have not played him as much as we want. Buying stock on Cox. I wasn't expecting much, but he has been playing great. Jabril Cox has been playing and improving at a faster pace than I imagined. And actually, I'm going to show you my stock market right now because, yeah, Jabril Cox is one of the players that I'm buying stock on. He has been improving drastically over the past few weeks, and he's looking ready to have a role within the Cowboys defense. And maybe he's pushing Jalen Smith even further down the depth chart, even more than we originally thought. So I'm buying Osa stock, and we already talked about that. But I agree with Jabril Cox. He looks like a player that is trading blocks, he's getting off blocks, and he's making plays, and he moves in space very fast. That is what I like the most about what we've seen from Cox. And we had seen that since he was in LSU and North Dakota State. Maybe he still has a long way to go in pass coverage, and we have not seen a lot from him in that department, maybe. But I'm buying stock on Cox as well. Now, this is not the first time that we sell stock from the Noosh. However, this is me selling every single stock from the Nooch that I have in my portfolio. I'm getting rid of them all after what we saw from him versus the Houston Texans. Like, that was the drop. That was the final game for me. I don't even know how to put it, but yeah, the Nooch, I'm selling all of my stock there. And then honorable mentions, I put in Michael Parsons, and I put him in as a honorable mention because, I cannot buy Michael Parsons stocks every single week here on the show, so I put him only as a honorable mention. And Randy Gregory, we have been talking a lot about a potential breakout season, and what we saw from him last night made me feel better about those predictions. Daywalker Bond says, I'd rather sign Skywalker Steele if that goes down before I sign Phillip Rivers. We got enough of that sidearm throwing with DiNucci. Now, I have not seen Skywalker Steele throw a football ever, so I'm not sure if I can take that risk, but I'm going to need Skywalker Steele to actually post a video on Twitter at Skywalker Steele. I'm going to need him to do so for me to have an opinion on this comment. Before I say anything, I need Sky to record a video of himself throwing that football and throw it over them mountains, please, Skywalker. So I'm going to send him this clip, and I'm going to let him know what he needs to do. Ben is done, says David. I agree with that. Sell Dixon, Ben, and Nseka. Dixon, one of those players that might be gone by next Tuesday. And the Cowboys, remember, need to cut an additional 5 players on Tuesday. They will go down from 85 to 80, plus Isaac Alarcon, because he does not count towards the roster limit, as we had explained on the show previously. But yeah, I think that some wide receivers are going to be cut. Last week it was Brandon Eagles, and I believe at least one more wide receiver is going to be cut on Tuesday. I'll buy an eye, says Blue Silver, and he washes his hands. Cox looks like the perfect candidate to replace Keanu Neal next season, and that is a smart comment again from Todd. Like, we're talking about Keanu Neal being on the Cowboys on only a 1-year deal, so maybe Gabriel Cox ends up taking that place. Buy stock on Bradley and I, buying Ozo Dizuwa. We should bring in Bortles or RG3 for a workout, says Dallas Young. I would like Blake Bortles. I'm not going to lie. I know Blake Bortles has his fair share of haters, but I do like Blake Bortles. At least I would like him more, or I would like him over Garrett Gilbert. Cedric Wilson, backup quarterback. Let's just run the Wildcat with Cedric Wilson. We've seen him throw that ball. I'm surprised I'm the only one buying Noah Brown right now after yesterday, says Stevie Mack. And D-Town agrees. And I think that's a good comment from Stevie. Noah Brown had a good game last night. And Noah Brown, I believe, has solidified his place in the Dallas Cowboys 53-man roster. I believe that none of us see, or at some point, maybe we questioned his job security with the Dallas Cowboys. But right now, I think that we all feel confident that Brown is virtually a roster lock, and he's a strong run blocker, but he might get a little bit disrespected with that label, and I'm going to include myself among those who might be disrespecting Noah Brown by just labeling him as a special teamer and a run blocker, because he can catch that ball and he can make plays with the ball, and we saw that last night. So I agree with Stephen Mack and what he had to say. And we know that Dak Prescott likes Noah Brown, so that is a strong compliment as well. Bortles has over 70 starts in the NFL. That's better than what we got now. I've had stock in Noah since he was drafted, says Eliasar. So there you go. That stock is up right now. Cowboys Nation will have a problem if we cut DiNucci after last preseason game and he clears waivers and McCarty puts him on practice squad, says DJ Doc. Yeah, it might be. It might be a problem for Cowboys Nation. I love Justin Hamilton as depth one tech. Boana also. Irvin is very good also and can play across the defensive line, says my Cowboys family. So there you go. Giving a comment in the chat, giving some love to those defensive tackles. I like what we have seen from Irvin as well. And I might eat crow when it comes to Brent Irvin. I'm willing to do so, but I was not very excited about the Brent Irvin signing a few months ago. And I mean, I like the signing, don't get me wrong. I was just not as excited as most of Cowboys Nation. And I think that he's had a strong preseason to make me eat my share of crow. So we'll see if that continues to happen. Now, moving on a little bit here before we close out the show, I wanted to talk to you about Conor McGovern because Stephen Jones made some interesting comments on 105.3 The Fan because it turns out, according to Todd Archer from ESPN, Todd Archer said that NFL teams were eyeing a potential trade for Conor McGovern, but that the Cowboys were not interested in dealing him because they see him as a starter, even though he is not a starter right now. Well, Stephen Jones was asked about this by Jeff Cavanaugh on 105.3 The Fan, and I think that Stephen Jones' answer was a very interesting one because, first of all, I think he gave the correct answer by saying that no, the Cowboys are unlikely to move on from Conor McGovern. I think that is very smart because the Cowboys have virtually no depth. And if there is one backup offensive lineman that I feel good about, it would be Conor McGovern. I don't feel great about Ty Nsekhe. I don't feel great about Terrence Steele, but I feel very confident about Conor McGovern, even though, as Cactus is saying in the chat, even though he got embarrassed in a few plays last night. That was not a strong game from Conor McGovern. However, I do think that he's a solid backup. I do feel that way. And there was this play, by the way, in which people were on Terrence Steele because he was not blocking anybody. And even though people were on Terrence Steele last night, I believe that play was mainly the responsibility of Conor McGovern, who got destroyed by the spin. So I understand what Cactus is saying, but I do think that he's a solid backup for the Dallas Cowboys and for the interior offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, what was more interesting about what Stephen Jones had to say is that, and I quote, he said, Conor McGovern has not been ruled out as a starter. Well, I'm not going to quote that, but that's what he said, basically. I'm not entirely sure if I got the words right, but he said that Conor McGovern has not been ruled out as a potential starter for the Dallas Cowboys. And I thought that was very interesting, and we have talked about this a lot on the show, but if you pair that with the fact that the Cowboys were playing with, if you pair that with the fact that the Cowboys have been playing Connor Williams at center, it just makes you wonder if the Cowboys if the Cowboys believe that their best five offensive linemen could be Williams at center and McGovern at guard. Because according to the reports, the Cowboys see Conor McGovern as a starter. So that would be interesting to me if the Cowboys, if Stephen Jones is saying that on air, maybe we could see a surprise on the offensive line at some point of the regular season. I would not like it though. I want Connor McWilliams. I'm mixing names here. I'm sorry. I would like Connor Williams to stay at left guard because I like Connor Williams at left guard. I believe he's a good player and he's underrated by a lot of Cowboys fans. So paraphrasing, yeah, I'm sorry, my Cowboys family. Am I the only one that thinks, says Dallas Young, Farniok has been decent so far? Matt Farniok has had his moments and his bad moments as well, in my opinion. There have been some very good reps and some very bad reps, in my opinion, regarding Matt Farniok. He's a fringe player trying to make that 53-man roster. I believe he will make it just because the lack of more depth. They want McGovern to take Connor Williams' job, and that's what I'm speculating on here. Maybe they want that. Maybe the Dallas Cowboys want that. We have to see McGovern next to Tyron before judging him, and I agree with that as well because he was playing with Terrence Steele, I believe. He played a lot. Conor McGovern has been playing a lot in a lot of combinations for the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. Brandon Knight has not had a very strong preseason either. Oh, yeah, definitely a solid backup, but his trade stock dropped. Not that we trade him, says Cactus. Yeah, the Cowboys cannot afford to get rid of Conor McGovern, and you're not going to get offered anything that will make it worth it. I'm not concerned about swing tackle whatsoever, says Dave Walker. Whoa, if Tyron O'Leil go down, simply kick Martin out to tackle and plug McGovern in at guard. But if Listen, the Cowboys did that last year, but the situation at the offensive line was very different. There were a lot of injuries going on. I would not be a fan of that. I want Zach Martin to stay at right guard because even though he played well as a right tackle in 2020, he's not that old pro that he is at guard, in my opinion. And if Lyle Collins goes down, maybe you can kick him out to the right tackle spot. I don't know if you will get those results if you slide him all the way over to the left side. I don't know if he's going to do that at left tackle. I'm not entirely sure about that. But if things go very wrong for the Dallas Cowboys, then at least we know that Zach Martin at tackle is a possibility. I fear some messes at offensive tackle, backup, and possible center with Williams. Makes me want Colombo back, says the Guru. Going back in time, I think Connor Williams should be swing tackle, and that would be interesting to watch, but the Cowboys have not experimented with that at all, so I'm not entirely convinced that they will do so. I believe they will hold off that idea, even though it maximizes our O-line at best. Sergio is saying Isaac Alarcon as a backup tackle. Now, he was originally a tackle, so maybe, but nah. I don't think the Cowboys look at Isaac Alarcon that way, unfortunately. I would love it if they did. Now, before we go, the biggest takeaway maybe from last night, and people were asking about Dak Prescott's health at the beginning of the show, there was some panic in social media on Friday night or on Saturday night, I believe, because Adam Schefter said on the halftime of the Cardinals-Chiefs game, he said that Dak Prescott might not be 100% at any point of the season. Now, if you listen to what Adam Schefter said, and if you pair that with the fact that he has not tweeted out anything regarding Dak Prescott's health recently, I don't think that he was reporting something on that halftime show. I think he was just talking about Dak Prescott, and maybe he was speculating about the possibility of that Dak Prescott would not be 100% at any point of the regular season as he continued to deal with the ankle injury or the shoulder injury. I think that's what Adam Schefter meant. Maybe he was clickbaiting people, as DJ Dog was saying, or maybe he did not intend for it to blow up because he did not tweet out anything else or anything like that. And then moments later, you had Tom Pelissero from NFL Network reporting that there are absolutely no setbacks when it comes to Dak Prescott's rehab and that he will be ready to play versus the Tampa Bay Bucs in Week 1. So again, as we have talked about here on about it on the show, there is no reason to worry about Dak Prescott right now. He threw 52 passes, literally 52 passes before their game against the Texans. Michael Gelkin tweeted that out, and that was the stat of the game, in my opinion. That was the stat of the game. The fact that Dak went out there and he threw 52 times, plus the warm-up throws, which I believe were about 17 warm-up throws. So Dak Prescott is healthy. He's going to be ready, and as Tom Pelissero reported, he's going to ramp up his practice workload over the next couple of weeks. So get ready for that. The Cowboys are just being as cautious as they can, and I believe that is very smart from them. Did you see the hit that Justin Fields took on that preseason game? I felt better about the Cowboys being conservative about Dak Prescott. I felt better after watching that clip. Now, it would be ideal to get Dak Prescott a couple of drives in order for him to get back in a certain rhythm and get some live action. But it's also smart to keep him off the field and just let him rest that shoulder as much as he can. Adam needs to have his feet held to the fire for bringing that energy to Dak. We need answers, says D Town. I agree with that. Trouble areas for us in 2021, backup QB, offensive tackle, center, and defensive tackle. I would add cornerback. I would add cornerback to that comment. I know we're excited about some of the players at the corner, but it's not going to be very pretty, or at least not as much as a lot of fans would like them to. Alarcon will be on the team as international player pathway exception. He will be our 54th player, so to speak, says my Cowboys family. Now, I think there is a confusion there. So Alarcon has a roster exception, but not for the 53-man roster. So the Cowboys cannot have him as a 54th player. They can have him as a an additional player right now during the preseason, and they can have him as a 17th practice squad member, but not as a 54th player. And that is true. Tell me, trust me. 85 people in here. Let's go. Good show, Mauricio. Thank you, Dallas, and thank you all for joining me tonight on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. It was a good show. I agree with what Dallas was saying. Love your participation, guys. Keep the chat coming always, of course. And I will see you every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night. And I'm excited about September because we're going to be doing this daily. Every night from Sunday through Thursday, we're going to be here on ADC Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm going to enjoy it, and I hope that you enjoy it. Thank you for joining me. My Cowboys family, with a little clarification there. They can move Alarcon after 3 weeks in the practice to the 53-man roster. Facts, and that is true, but not with the exemption. So he would be part of the 53-man roster. So we're on the same page there, just a little bit of a difference when it comes to the actual rules, and they can be a little bit complicated. But yeah, hopefully Zach Alarcon finds his way to the roster at some point of the season. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you all. Remember to check out adcsportsdallas.com for your Cowboys and your Mavericks content, always on adcsportsdallas.com. So make sure you do that, and I will see you all next time. Have a great start to the week. I will see you on Tuesday night, and make sure you tune in for tomorrow's Skywalker show at 8 a.m. Central Time. So thank you all, and I will see you on Tuesday.